you're talking about infrastructure, socio-economic levels, still trying to develop, though they are not there yet. You are bound to see a lot of contrasts in Soweto. You're bound to see the fancier parts, the nicer life, the softer life, the beautiful life. You are bound to see the lowest of the low. You are bound to see what's a little bit called in between. That is what Soweto offers today, and that is what most people are not aware of. Most people always, when they think of sure, in America, you're not used to the houses with the walls and stuff like that. In South Africa, it's common a thing to see a house with a wall for security reasons.
Oh,
and
they
sometimes
have them
for decorative purposes. You build a house and then you build a wall just to show you how much you can afford. Soweto did not start in this form, in this manner. This is just the newly developed part of the township, Soweto. As I said earlier, a township means a racially segregated area outside the city center. That's what a township means, where black people used to stay, colors or Indians, but mostly black people who used to work in the gold mines of Johannesburg were allowed to live in Soweto as cheap migrant laborers. They were not allowed to own the property you see today. They were not allowed to own the land back then. They had to rent or squat on illegal areas using corrugated metal iron to live there. But now we're talking about Soweto that is back in the days, in the 1960s and 50s.
Okay.
This came in the 1970s, 80s and 90s, when the government now, unfortunately, because of Soweto massacre, 1976 uprising, which we will touch on later, international countries to condemn the oppression of black people, especially in townships, and to try to give better infrastructure in the township and allow middle class and upper class individuals to have land, but renting land for how long? 30 to 40 year lease term. So in South Africa, actually, we don't own the land. The land is leased to you. You only own it after a certain period of time. It's either a 30-year lease or a 40-year lease term.
Really? Is
Exactly.
that throughout all of South Africa?
Most of the South African, except if you live in the rural areas where the land is allocated by our chiefs.
Oh yes,
our
I heard of
traditional
land.
leaders.
I
They are the
heard-
ones who can allocate land. Maybe you have to buy it off and then they show you which piece of land you can live in. But in
Okay.
the urban areas, you don't actually say this is my land. You had to have a title deed or a lease to rent it or to own it. That's how it works.
Now, is colonization bad in Africa?
Colonization. Well, for
Like
some African
racism?
countries, it was really that bad because they stripped a lot of those such countries a lot of resources, but they never really did a lot of development around them. And South Africa, yes, we do feel the effects of colonial rule. Why? Simply because of issues like the land. I cannot have my land wherever I want it. There must be rules and procedure and protocol to get the land. Now, unfortunately, I'm born African. I'm born in Africa, and Africans find identity with the land. So if when you take off the land from an African man, you are as much as taking away his humanity.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
Like, I'm
You understand?
kinda Like,
Yes.
So
confused
it is
how they
that's
have that much power. Like, if this is y'all's land, how do they have that much power?
obviously the power comes through talk about the laws they implemented. Once the wars were done, the battles was won, they came with their own laws. For example, it's crazy to know that South Africa today, we have colonial borders. You look at a country like Lesotho and Swaziland, those were part of South Africa at some stage. But because of
Wow.
colonialism,
We
they
didn't know
came up
that.
with the borders and divided us more. That is how they conquered, that's how they became powerful. Just to get directly to your question, they find a means of dividing the majority, which is the African people, turn them against each other so that they do not become ones. If you look at the book by a man called William Lynch talking about, I don't know if you know William Lynch, please Google him, talking about American slavery trade. He said the best way to control your slaves was to make sure that you turn them against each other so that they don't stand up united. Because they say in English, united we stand, divided we fall. That is how slavery trade became so powerful and so dominant, and that is how people were divided back in the days. Exactly. We are looking now, it's also Deep Kloof, just that it's divided according to social class. You see the upper class of Deep Kloof, which I did say, it came off in the late 70s, 80s and 90s. But when you look on your far left, the kind of the single-story, single-units houses, the ugly monotonous buildings there, those are what you call hostels or compounds. They were created and built by miners during the gold rush, the late 19th century during the gold rush, and the 20th century, to accommodate only miners who came from outside Johannesburg, who came to Johannesburg to come work as cheap labor, but creating it for single sex. So you have These units, like this one for example, it's one of the former male-only hostels, 10 of them in Soweto. What is Deep Kloof? Deep Kloof actually comes from the name of a farm. These were farms back in the days. There were no houses here before Soweto was laid out in 1904. So Soweto actually began 1904. That's when Soweto was laid out in a place called Klipspruit. We will touch on Klipspruit a bit later as part of our tour. But for now, we are in Deep Kloof area where you get to see different social classes. That's how it works. Oh, robots. By the way, when you see a goat in Soweto, we call them
Wow,
robots.
cool.
And these
How
ones,
cool.
they just go by themselves. Nobody takes care of themselves. They know where to go, they know where to fend for themselves, and afternoon, they go back home. Where they come from? They come from the very same hostels we're talking about. Yep. What we are currently still fighting for in South Africa for land redistribution, because majority of the land was owned by white people and they basically did not want to give it back after 1994. So the government has to intervene in trying to force, especially the unused or commercial land, to be given to people, especially the Africans who might use it for commercial or residential reasons. Coming on your right hand side, you are looking at our middle class in Deep Kloof. I come from a family of 9 people. Grew up in a 4-roomed house, 2 bedrooms, a kitchen and a dining room. Small houses in Soweto like these ones, we call them matchbox housing. Why a matchbox? Because they are 40 to 44 square meters in size, but a family of 10, 15 people can fit inside them, living in together. So it's not a strange thing to find that sometimes you visit a family home, you find that in the kitchen people are sleeping, in the dining room people are sleeping. That's how they just try to improvise because of the space they have. We call them matchboxes for that matter. Coming on the right is still your hostels and compounds. You're just having a closer look at them right now. You find that, as I said, they are the low class. You look at the make, the break, they are old. The grey roofing, asbestos chemicals. Electricity, mostly connected illegally. Running water on the tap like this one you find right here. Women and children today do live in the hostels and compounds. That is after 1994 elections. Before 1994, no, it was only for male people. But after 1994 elections, anybody can live in them. Still learning how to get along and living together. You know, here in the township, we believe on the principles of Ubuntu. Ubuntu means humanity.
Yes.
Exactly. I am because you are because I am. I need you, you need me. You do not become an isolated person. You need someone somehow to get along with you. That's what you get in the township. You lose your phone, somebody might help. You need help, somebody might come and help. Not necessarily because they also want money from you like they were doing in Tanzania. In Soweto, you don't do that. You just do it because it's part of the goodwill.
Yes.
It's just open to humanity.
Yes.
I'm my brother's keeper, I'm my sister's keeper. That's what we always say. You got my back, I got your back.
That's right.
That's how it is. So the landscape you guys are looking at right now, you are inside Soweto, southwestern townships, home to around 4 million people. The biggest township in South Africa and Africa as a whole. In terms of the landscape, Disney World?
Disney World?
Yeah.
Oh.
No. I thought she said you didn't watch. What she said, you used to watch in the entertainment industry.
Oh, like TV, like.
Or TV.
film.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay, I got you now. I got you. Right. So we have a lot of adventure sites here in Soweto too. It's not about the history. It's all about leisure and recreation. You can come for. So this is where you bungee jump, and this is where you.
What a bungee jump! London, you know I'm not into things like that.
I'm into things like that.
You bungee jumping. That's good. You're still young.
Okay, I cannot do that.
Anyway, mommy. So if he gets traumatized,
Oh, no.
by the way, so no problem.
Okay.
You can fall inside the red tower as well. So 90 meters above ground level. You can climb a wall. You can do pinball shooting.